Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's TheoTRADE chat. It's Don Kaufman here. It's Friday. Can you believe it? It's March already. March 1st. I don't hear any of that Happy New Year crap. It's over. It's over. There's no more New Year. It's the third month. You're coming to the end of the quarter already. Jeff's already going to be talking about window dressing into the end of the Q1. Obviously, that comes at the end of March, but I'm getting ahead of Bierman a little bit. Work with somebody for like almost 20 years. I pretty much know everything he's going to say, like, a month before he says it. With that, that's predictability. With that, this morning the S&P futures are massively unchanged, but we have a big expected move today. Now, one of the first things I want to mention, and you're going to hear this a couple of times this morning, but get ready to rumble throughout the course of today's trading session. Like you see those S&Ps unchanged. I'm scared. Hold me. No, they are going to they're going to move. My drawing tool's not working this morning. The hell, man? My drawing tool is not working. Let's close the drawing tool and reopen the drawing tool. Yeah, anyway, it's $30 for reopened over there. Oh, I'm having all kinds of problems this morning. Apparently, I'm over my caffeine consumption for the day. Hold on. I got to fix this thing the right way. I'm going into the task manager over here. We're going to break stuff while I'm live. It's good. Good. End task. I ended you. All right. Yeah. Some tech issues over here on my side. 2 minutes to go to the cash open here. As I was saying, the markets are not doing much, but believe me when I say, well, what the hell just happened there? It's not supposed to come up on that screen. Oh, it's broken. Oh, I got it back. Okay. It's alive. We're having technical difficulties. All right. With the amount of caffeine that I've had, I can't focus. Anyway, the S&Ps are unchanged into the morning. We're doing about 240,000 contracts, which is decent. There was some European data that came out today, and the European data, there it is right there. So European data takes the markets a little lower. We've had a bid back under it. Apparently, nobody cares. I'm not even drinking coffee this morning. I bought Dunkin' Donuts coffee while here on the island, and it sucks. I just went right for the energy drink this morning. Serious. I couldn't drink it anymore. Chucked the bag last night. Chucked a whole bag of coffee. It's bad when I'm chucking coffee. All right. It's caffeine abuse. We're coming into the cash open this morning. The leader out of the pack in terms of like sectors, you do have to look at the energy sector. It's got a little bit of a bid under it. Taking a look, the financials, they're actually slightly lower. And then Nvidia. That's your marketplace because ironically, Apple, it's lower and it's right at a critical point that I talked about. That's your cash open. The advanced decline line here, look, it's unchanged. We're slop fest this morning. That's okay. One thing I just want you to be mindful of this morning. Again, we are coming in here with what I would term a big boy expected move on a day where the market is opening massively unchanged. Let's come to today's cash open. All right. No Benadryl. No Benadryl. Like fighting it. I shall not sleep ever again. 50-50 advanced decline line. By the way, that's how I define sloptastic. The S&Ps just jumped out of the gate. There's no surprise over here. There's no tick whatsoever. It's not really positive, not really negative. What, pray tell, jumped out of the gate? Looks to me like Meta. Meta jumped out of the gate and actually jumped the market higher with it. Crazy, right? And what's even crazier is I've had enough caffeine that I could pick up on that instantaneously because that's Meta jumped out of the gate. Everything else across the board is flat to slightly down. People, there are two stocks and energy that are actually holding this marketplace up this morning. And I mentioned that specifically because you do have just a hint of sell side in the air in Microsoft. Moreover, in Microsoft, it hasn't really done anything this week. I was looking at this in the pre-market. It's unchanged. Apple is actually just above the lower expected move. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would anticipate today we actually do touch into the expected move. Look, it's only about $1 lower from where we're presently trading. Okay. However, that has implications because what I'm telling you right now, I think Apple is going to back off to the lower edge of its expected move. The implication in your mind should immediately be, well, he's basically saying, yeah, the S&Ps are going to get kind of pulled back into it a little bit. Now, before we get any deeper into anything this morning, it's Nvidia Watch 2024. The only stock that seems to matter in the marketplace as of late is Nvidia. Throw a little side order of Meta, though, in there. Nvidia, any price action that looks unusual this morning? The answer is no. Okay, when I say price action, I'm actually talking about options volume. We've been watching extensively. Okay, traded at the ask or above, traded at the bid or below. I'm glad that my drawing tool is working. Boom. We've been watching this extensively. There are call buyers right now showing up in Nvidia in a big way. As I am getting in here, I was like, oh, there's nothing unusual. Here they come. When I say here they come, there's call buying going on. That often forces the product to the upside. Meanwhile, okay, Microsoft is also now coming on strong. Okay, just the last few seconds, I saw a big bid into Microsoft, which just, look, 2 minutes ago, I'm looking at this thing and it had nothing going on. It was down. Huge bid coming into Microsoft. It is, again, out of where? Nowhere. I mean, look, there's no call buying going on inside of Microsoft right now, but we'll see how this actually plays out in the minutes to come. Nvidia just on fire, okay, in early trade. As I said to you just 30 seconds ago, expect this a big bid with that last minute candle. Okay, you could see it coming literally before. Look at the call buying in here. It's huge, huge by huge. So call buyers are out in force here. I will tell you though, this is early to see them. It's the first 3 minutes of the trading session. Literally the first 3 minutes of the trading session. You're seeing call buying. To me, that hits kind of fever pitch, and this thing's going to mellow out and possibly even back off a little bit in the next few minutes. So back off substantially, not necessarily so, but back off to some degree and kind of cool for a moment. So again, when I say fever pitch too, I mean that's a statement inside of Nvidia because you've seen fever pitch, but we just saw the call volume jump by almost 10,000 contracts in a matter of 2 minutes. I mean, you're 4 minutes into a trading day, and I saw that call volume, okay, explode in here. Look what's going on. I just called for this. The number of calls now being bought. Well, no, now they're actually turning around selling them, and it's cooling the stock off a little bit. Cool. I like it. I like it. Some price action getting wild though on the screen in early trade. Financials this morning, massively unchanged, which might be a little surprising to some. If we will, we're going to deviate for just a second. I want to take you over to KRE. We can talk a little bit about this in more extent, but KRE is the regional bank ETF, right? So I like to make sure that everybody knows where I'm at, what I'm looking at. And this morning, again, we're initially talking about KRE. Why are we talking about KRE? Okay, we're talking about KRE because there's more issues from NYCB, which is New York Community Bank. New York Community Bank has got big issues once again. This right now, and the reason I'm mentioning it, seems to be treated as if it is a one-off. All right. It seems to be treated, when I say it's a one-off, right now, New York Community Bank is an absolute shambles. Apparently, they made a little bit of a risk management mistake. The shares are down from $4.80 down to $3.50. Stick a fork in this thing because people, it is done. At what point, okay, is the FDIC gonna step in and take over? Because that is a very, very high probability now in this. That's why I wanted to bring it up. A lot of people are going to probably start to move money. They really screwed up big time in this one. Nevertheless, stock's actually down another 27%. And the reason I'm bringing it up it just doesn't seem to be sparking fear throughout any other financials. And I'll be frank in saying, because they're bad, they're just idiots running the bank. It never works that way. Like the banking industry is it's just never that way. You know, there's what we call uh, systemic and systematic risk, and I would assume the New York Community Bank, however small they happen to be, will cause some degree of systematic risk and a little bit of cautionary tale, though, on the front of the financials. And I wanted to cover that up front because markets are ignoring like kind of almost everything in here. You know, KRE, that regional bank ETF, it's down, but it's down because okay of New York Community Bank, but it's only down like 1.5% today, which is just the impact of that one bank upon it. Speaking of one bank upon it, I'll jump away from that for a second. There is big, fast, and kind of ugly price action right now in the SPOOs and in the Nasdaq. SPOOs, by the way, again, I know we have a lot of new people in here. SPOOs means S&P futures. Okay, for those of you that have never heard the terminology, okay, SPOOs. SPOOs. That's what it sounds like. Okay, but that's not really what it is. The reason we call them SPOOs is SPU was the first symbol, okay, that was ever out for S&P futures. It used to be /SPU. Then they changed it to, /ES. U means September. Okay. And then I just, everybody puts kind of an S at the end, but I think it's a Z. SPOOs. Okay. Because Z would actually mean December. But anyway, SPOOs are making quite the little move over here. And check out, is this the Nvidia kind of day? I've been calling for a move back in and around the 770 level all throughout the course of the week. And I'm going to be honest, we are a far cry from 770, but the day is young and I've had a lot of caffeine. So I want to see if this move can happen. Is it likely? No. I mean, if you look at the expected move though today, in fact, we're going to talk quite a bit about expected move here momentarily. Just waiting for everybody to join. Okay. Places, everybody, take your places. Anyway, places, people. If you take a quick glance at Nvidia, one of the things that's astounding to me, possibly ridiculous. Let's not use the term astounding, kind of ridiculous. Can you believe it only has just between now and the end of the day, like a $12 expected move? It just seems wrong to me. It just doesn't seem like enough. Like here's one where, I don't like to scalp stuff like this, but the implied volatility is not great either. But if you take a look, you can buy like a $5 wide spread, but it still costs $2, but we're trading right at 800. This is almost like a 50-50 bet, but it pays out 3 and only risks like, well, in this case, like $1.80. Okay. Now that's the bearish bet. Hold on a second, because I don't want you guys he's bearish again. I'm not. I want to show you something interesting. There's so much skew in this. You realize that the call spread is actually in the money by $1.70, and the damn thing only costs like $2.30. Look, it actually is cheaper in Nvidia, okay, to be bullish than it is bearish. I just wanted to show you that right now, because if you're gonna scalp something in Nvidia, you just hold the position to the end of the day. If the 800 and 805 strike were to close both in the money, okay, you make a full $5 and it exercises and assigns out, meaning that you own this, okay? And if it ends up in the money, okay, what's in the money? Let's say this market closed at 806 by end of day. It's not here, it's 806. Let's say it closes at 806 the end of the day. The 800 strike is in the money and the 805 strike is in the money, right? So the 800's automatic exercise buys the stock at 800, sells the stock at 805. You're golden, pony boy. Okay, you paid $2 for the thing and you'll end up making about $3 in the trade. Okay, that's the way to trade something like this on a day that it's a wild child of the marketplace. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, holy crap, it only has like a 12, like, $11 or $12 expected move, right? And I just wanted to show you that because the skew is horrendously inverted in here. Okay, but by the way, today I can't say that I'm bullish in Nvidia. You're like, seriously, even after all that, okay, it hasn't done anything this week. Actually, if you look at auto expected moves, okay, it really the move today is the whole move of the week. Like it hasn't done anything this week. So you can say that Nvidia is impenetrable, but you'd be dead wrong. This week it hasn't done anything. I mean, today could be something different. It could, shoot all the way up to 823. Nevertheless, right? It seems unusual in that case. All right, another aspect on the move right now, on the move. Okay, pay attention. Bond market is moving, right? I also want to make and again, like let's not worry about Dell, let's not worry about AMD because they're not moving the market yet. I'll come to those in the latter portion of this first hour. Don't worry about those. We need to worry about is what's actually moving the market right now. Okay, and I'm going to tell you exactly what is moving markets. The bond market here is starting to move the S&Ps. Okay, Microsoft is maintaining the bid under the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq kind of waffling right now. But one of the more important aspects here, not even advanced decline line, go look at your calendar. Calendar has PMI manufacturing final. Okay, just hear me out. I don't think that this PMI manufacturing is going to move markets much. That comes out in 2 minutes. Okay, let me clarify. In 2 minutes, this number is going to come out. Okay, it could move markets, but the one that I'm really bringing up, there's construction spending, and this is the Michigan consumer sentiment. That freaking number has moved markets lately. We know it's moved markets. You've been on here before. You've seen this thing move markets a lot, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, 420, man. Can't make that crap up. It says it right there. But there's also construction spending. You're in a morning right now, okay, where there's nothing to feed the beast being the marketplace. There's nothing to feed the beast. Why do I care then, right? The market on the week is where? Let's just get down to why am I a little bit concerned about today's trading session? I'm actually more than concerned about today's trading session. There's the alarm. Okay, we have news coming out in 1 minute, 60 seconds till news. I'm going to show you something. This week holds, okay, plus or minus $64 of movement. Actual move has been, it's a big donut right now. We haven't done a damn thing. Like, look, okay, the week started here at 50.88. We're 10 handles higher on the week, 10 handles higher on the week. So what's the concern? Well, the concern, first of all, is there's $64 of movement that can actually transpire. But today, okay, today, the SPX expected move is a whopping $30 just for today. That's big. And right now, we're unchanged and we have catalysts coming out. Okay, catalysts being, well, news. So the first one's coming out. This PMI, it's crazy. Like, look, there's no volume right now, which is not a good sign either. This PMI number, nobody gives a crap about. Look at it move markets. Holy crap, look how much the bonds just moved. It's a PMI number. Like, again, a PMI manufacturing final. And it's, as I kind of reiterate, and I'm telling you, it's kind of shocking to see this stuff move markets. Okay, if that moved the market at all, can you imagine what like construction spending and a consumer sentiment number are going to do? So I would keep your hands and feet inside of the vehicle at all times here this morning, because we are in a it's much more risky situation than the market gives it credit for. Moreover, I don't see any movement out of VIX, which is just downright weird. And, okay, you got some pretty good sell side activity hitting the bond market right now. So those bonds being down 23 ticks, they have done nothing over the last, we're like 3 weeks into nothing. Okay, when I say nothing here, it's quantifying nothing. There's 1, 2, 3 weeks. Okay, now literally kind of say this week dropped big, but there's 1, 2, 3 weeks were completely unchanged for the last 3 weeks inside of the bond market. And it's finally on the move to some degree. The consumer sentiment and construction numbers, I think, are going to move the bonds, which is in turn going to move markets. So be very, very careful. Okay. Anyway, Wayne was saying the expected move study, mine doesn't seem to work. Listen, unfortunately, Chucky, okay? I mean, we can have like Brian Aponte possibly, okay? Brian Aponte can possibly repost those in there, but here at Chucky, it's just not Chucky being Thinkorswim, which now runs this beast, but things are not working very well. What the hell's going on here? Okay, things are not working very well in some instances of Thinkorswim. One of the things that doesn't seem to be working well is the shared mechanism, right? In the shared mechanisms, some of your platforms are working, some of your platforms are not working. My frustration level is to the point where I'm like, look, just change brokerage firms at this point. Okay, I don't know what else to tell you. Is I'm trading predominantly now. I'm doing a lot more trading at Tasty. Pulled a lot of capital from what's the Thinkorswim platform, but I still use it on a day-to-day basis. We've talked a lot about that this week because many of you have gotten that letter that says we're moving. All right, Meta. Let's cruise over to Meta for a second. Okay, inside of none other than Meta, $7 move, another 1.5%. Speaking of Meta, check this out. Auto expected moves clipped the upper side of it. Okay. Before some of the data comes out, okay? Before some of the data comes out, let me show you some pivotal levels on the screen, okay? By the way, Carlos, yeah, I'm totally watching the dollar as well. I agree with you 100%. I was going to save the dollar, that conversation, for the weekend update. There is one thing I'm kind of saving for the weekend update, but I'll start to discuss it a little bit here, okay? And that is simply in context to, well, look, when selling starts to hit this marketplace, I think we need to be a little concerned at this point, okay? And first of all, that's not to bear up on you. That's not my intention of saying this. And that's not about today. That could be tomorrow. It could be a month from now. But when selling does hit this marketplace, I think everybody has to start to rationalize things are going to get ugly, and they're going to get ugly very, very quickly. Okay. Very, very quickly. And some of the telltale signs are coming into play. You realize that we're still buying dollar. Look at today. Okay. I mean, that's holy crap. It's a huge move. You know what's interesting about that one? That was not the PMI number that sparked it. The PMI number just pushed it a little further. There are some not healthy things going on in this marketplace. And I mean, I'll talk about it again in the weekend update. I want you to think about that, okay? When selling does commence, and it will, okay? That right there, okay? People are like waiting for the economy to cool down. They're talking about hard and soft landing, okay? What if a big move in the markets was actually the genesis of your hard landing or soft landing, whatever it may be, okay? You want to put brakes on the economy, that marketplace sells off a little bit. People are not going to feel like they have anything. One of the things that's actually keeping, inflation alive is markets. People don't usually think of it that way, but it's true. People have money as long as that 401k statement looks damn good. Okay. And that's a big portion of the economy out there. It has definitely come to a situation has definitely come to a head. We'll look at that again, when on this weekend's update. The other thing I wanted to cover before data came out, right? There's a few stocks, as I was saying on the Wednesday night video, that are what are marquee levels, Apple being one of them, okay? And I just drawn a little cheesy line over here, but like Apple, right at the 180 mark, clearly it's under it, right? Now it's flirting with a larger break to the downside. Apple this year is not performing well. Okay, it's down some 3% now on the year. It's amazing that one of your biggest products and one of the biggest monkeys on the block is down in a year, and the marketplace can still be up 7%. Just goes to show you that capital, okay, there's no love, all right, for Apple. They're loving anything with the term AI in it, which, all right, here you go. That's exactly what my lead in to Dell happens to be, okay? Dell, sheer chaos in this product this morning as it explodes back to the upside. Moreover, year to date, it's now up 60%. Now, Dell isn't going to move crap. I think this is, what is this, a 60 some odd billion-dollar company? Am I right in saying that? Oh, sorry. My apologies. 83 billion now. It was like 60 billion. It was 60 billion yesterday. It's 83 billion today. God damn. What's 20 billion amongst friends? Hmm? Hmm. Anyway, stock rocketing by 25% today. I couldn't do that math in my head, but I can't stress enough. What happened with Dell? They mentioned the term AI. And I'm not joking about that. I'm deadly serious. They mentioned the term AI. And then AMD, okay, is flying in the backdrop of this. But AMD, even though it's up today, has already actually pulled back. It looks very, very edgy in here. Actually, as do several major stocks in the screen. Remember, big news breaking in about 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm covering a handful of stocks, and I'll come back to these as well. Google. Let's go into Google for a moment. Okay, Google may already have actually broken through a very, very key level. Right, the key level is somewhere possibly in this neighborhood here of 140. I think you could probably also make an argument though that 135, okay, is the only thing standing between Google and a little bit of the abyss. So keep an eye on this as well. Again, I will update more on that front in the weekend update, but I did in fact want to show you Google is way outside. It dropped obviously on Monday, way outside of its expected move this week. Okay, very important. Apple, again, is coming right to the lower edge of the expected move, and yet the QQQ is actually halfway home to the upper edge of the expected move. Okay, the reason I'm going so much into this, we're actually seeing a wild and cyclical rotation, okay, out of literally now what is termed the Magnificent Seven. Okay, they've effectively beaten up Google, taken it out at the knees a little bit this week. It's now flat on the year. Apple, as we've already shown, is down on the year. Tesla, which has come back, is still down some 20% on the year. Okay, you're now left basically with four stocks. Amazon still has performance. Microsoft clearly still has performance. Okay, Meta, okay, pretty shocking moves in here, up 44%, and Nvidia. Four stocks now have become your market. There's no more, in my opinion, there is no more Magnificent Seven. Now, what could happen is we see a rotation back into Apple. But in the case of a rotation back into Apple, my suggestion is the money comes out of something like Nvidia, and then you're going to have problems there. Okay, we are playing this like wild game of whack-a-mole. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about with whack-a-mole, right? That's the little thing where like the little like thing pops its head up and you whack it. We're literally watching whack-a-mole now, not on a sector by sector basis, okay, but we're watching it specifically in that Magnificent Seven, okay, in what we kind of term here the monsters of tech. You're playing the game of whack-a-mole right now, and we're starting to see, some more, I guess, dominoes kind of fall. I want you to think about that though. If you start to see Apple rally back, it's going to come from somewhere. It's going to be a rotation like out of Meta into Apple or out of Nvidia into Apple. Okay. Google, similar, but I have a tough time thinking Google's going to come back. And at this point in time, Google, okay, this is real pressure in here. It's not performing, and it hasn't performed, okay, for quite some time. Again, year to date, it's totally flat. Bring it up year over year. Okay, it's still up 52%, which actually, if anything, puts it in a more precarious place. So how ironic, as I'm talking over here, the S&P is completely flattened out. I'll remind you what I said a few moments ago. We have a $30 expected move today. $30 expected move today with the markets completely unchanged. It is unsettling to me to see that. Okay. The last thing I will mention on this front, when you're coming into a day when we're going to have an expiration, well, first of all, every day is expiration, right? So every day is technically expiration because we have 0 DTE. This is the SPX and there's 0 days to expiration. Okay. But when you're on Friday, Friday is much, much more pivotal. There's way more what we term open interest into the Friday expiration. Okay. This, when we're unchanged like this, would be the maximum amount of gamma risk. Gamma kind of works with like a distribution curve. Okay. Well, the distribution curve, the top of this curve sits literally right here. Like that's the distribution curve. And what you got to understand is a day like today, all we have to do is start to roll a little bit up the hill and we start to take off, or a little bit down the hill, we start to take off. What everybody always, hold on, which way are we going to go? Okay. It's ridiculous to try to handicap which way we're going to go when you have a catalyst right in front of you. And the catalyst is going to be the announcement that comes out basically in 2 minutes. I am not proclaiming, okay, that the construction spending consumer sentiment is going to move the markets immediately. What I am saying is the catalyst is going to spark a move, okay? And we start to roll that direction, and then all of a sudden we start to take off, okay? Or vice versa, take off to the downside. Be mindful of it, okay? And I'm serious about that. Be very, very mindful of it because there is a significant amount of gamma. There's no delta risk right now to like market makers portfolios that have a lot of like Friday options in them. Okay. They're not going to have a lot of delta risk, but what they have an extraordinary amount of is gamma risk, right? Why is there no delta risk? Because the week hasn't done a damn thing. So they're sitting with pretty neutral delta. Okay. But they have this incredible amount of, that's supposed to be gamma, gamma. Okay. Anyway, they have this incredible amount of gamma that sits over here. And that is always, I think, eludes a lot of people in here. But if you look at this from a probability point of view, okay, it'll look exactly like that. It's so cool that it actually does it like this, because that's exactly what you should see today. Some serious freaking price action playing out. Okay. 1 minute. We have 1 minute till some data comes out. We'll sit here and watch the S&Ps for the next minute or two, and then we'll jump back to a couple symbols and a few trades that I've placed throughout the course of this week. Okay. We'll take a look at a couple things here this morning. I'm not really, like, my positions are not doing much, and they shouldn't be doing much. The Nasdaq is still up some 50 points, but the Nasdaq belongs right now to Nvidia and Meta. Okay. I'm surprised. I'm frankly, I'm surprised the Nasdaq is holding it together as well as it is. Okay. By the way, advanced decline line this morning is slightly negative. Okay. SPOs are completely unchanged. As I said, I'm surprised the Nasdaq doing as well as it is with both Microsoft and now Apple down on the day. Google, a little bit of slippage in here. Tesla's off just by about 1%, but that's how much power you've got now in Nvidia. Okay. And in Meta. All right, let's see what this announcement actually does to the marketplace. Okay, and here we go. As I said, there goes gamma risk. All right, they like me. They really, really like that. Is not what I wanted to see inside of the S&Ps right now. Okay, holy crap! Look at the move in the bond market. Now just be mindful that first move, okay, may not be moved. This is not the move we're looking for. Those are definitely not the droids I'm looking for. Okay. As I said to you, this was going to be a big move. There's no if, and, or but about that, right? We knew it was going to start to move this marketplace. Okay. We're going to see how it's going to play out. But the move in the bond market was just downright fierce. Okay. Hideous move as well. Holy crap, inside of the dollar. Huge moves. And this is where everybody likes to look at the numbers. Okay. Look, we can look at the numbers if you want. I rarely will look at this. Manufacturing numbers sucked. This is terrible. US ISM manufacturing in here. Okay. That's not good. I mean, that's way off. The the sentiment, I can't even really get into this. The sentiment though is way off as well. 76.9 versus 79. Okay, the numbers are terrible. You do realize that the marketplace, also construction spending, negative 0.2% was looking for 0.2%. You realize that bad numbers, okay, sparked a rally in the market because people want interest rate cuts. Okay. So bad is good for markets. However, we have seen the first signs of maybe, just maybe, that trade logic may flip back over where bad data, okay, could actually become bad again. There's one thing I've been mentioning it for the last like 18 months. Okay. When you want to, like, people look at fundamentals and technicals is fine, but you look at a lot of fundamentals. How can you trust fundamentals, okay, when bad data becomes good for the market? I know that that's a very simple question, okay, but the ramifications and implications are humongous in there. How can you ever trust like a number, like a $3 trillion market cap of Microsoft? How do you substantiate that, okay, when data coming out is bad? And if data comes out as bad, as eventually is going to be felt, eventually can be felt in some of the individual companies. Nevertheless, okay, the market continues to move on. So S&Ps after that little burst to the upside, things kind of mellowed out a little bit maybe. The bond market continues to actually hold. This is market highs right now. I mean, it's highs in the overnight, but this is cash market highs for the bond market. My anticipation, okay, I would think we would slip back a little bit in here inside of the bond market, but see how this one plays. Okay, take a quick glance. That upside trade was felt in every single product. I mean, some really significant moves in a very short period of time over here. Microsoft actually has a bid back under it. We'll see if this thing actually holds it together for the next few minutes. S&Ps though up 7, and what I'm concerned about, what I'm concerned about right now is I was just talking about, if you start to kind of go up the hill, we just take off to the upside. We're close to that, but we're not there yet. Okay. But you got to realize that a huge volatility catalyst just played out. And right now is when that instability comes in the market. And it's very evident, looking at the tape, it is very evident the market has not, okay, jumped to one direction or the other. I mean, even the Nasdaq right now is kind of right back where it was before that news came out. So, if anything, I would suggest to you the markets kind of feel a little heavier than they have in the last couple of days. Heavier meaning, even that rally, I thought at 519 we're just going to blow to the upside. We didn't. Okay, so let this thing kind of play out a little bit. It feels heavy out there. When I say it feels heavy, I'm saying feels like we're going to pull back and start to slip a little bit to the downside. The move though that we're seeing here is nothing. If the S&Ps are moving 15 or 20 points, okay, you got me. That's what they should be moving. 15 or 20 points is what they should be moving. There's no if, and, or but about that. Okay. You're not going to have a day where, we could finish unchanged by the end of the day, but you're going to see some volatility in today's trade. That much you can pretty much count on. I'm a little surprised here. In the pre-market, Costco was up. I'm surprised because Costco hasn't had too many down days recently. We'll see how this plays as well. All right. So Judd was saying, Don, do you think Fed head speaking? Yeah, Fed is speaking all throughout the course of the day. Okay. In my opinion, yes, I think that the Fed can definitely add. I mean, the Fed can always add a little volatility to a marketplace, but quite frankly, every bit of Fed speak this week has been extraordinarily well scripted. Okay. They're all on the exact same script. For those of you that don't necessarily follow a lot of Fed speak and so forth, okay, Fed peoples, okay, who's speaking today? Like, is it like John Williams might be speaking? There was a bunch of Fed speak that's actually due for today, but anyway, Fed speak, the individual like Fed heads, if you will, Fed heads. I like that. Okay. They are paid, okay, individually and personally to go out and do different speaking engagements. That's actually one of the things, like if you're a Fed president, that's a gig that doesn't pay a damn thing really, and it's an appointed position. Okay. The Fed presidents, okay, like Minneapolis Fed president would be Neil Kashkari. They get paid to do speaking engagements. So in between Fed meetings, right, it's a really good gig because they might be able to make, anywhere from 80, maybe $100,000 an hour to go out and speak. Okay. I know because at TD Ameritrade, we have hired former Fed speakers in the past. Nevertheless, the Fed speak is predominantly scripted. Okay. And when I say scripted, I'm just basically saying, like, look, the Fed gets together and they have conversations regarding, like, okay, this is the rhetoric for this week. Don't anybody go off script. And there's constant communication going on there. So actually, most of the time, Robert, they work for Goldman before, specifically, Neil Kashkari worked for Goldman Sachs before he was actually appointed to Fed. Yeah, a bunch of them actually do come from like Goldman, a few of the banks out there. Yeah, it's good stuff. Does anybody know where Ben Bernanke ended up working? Because I have a buddy that works there. Ben Bernanke worked, okay, or does still work. I don't even know if he's still there. Works for Citadel and Ken Griffin. And Ben Bernanke was making like $1 million a year. I'm pretty sure they just put him on a stool in the corner and just pat him on the head once in a while. They're like, look what we bought. We bought a Fed. They wanted insight to the Fed, and insight they got. Okay, but Ben Bernanke, he don't like, okay, Jerome Powell, not even a little bit. Those guys do not like each other, and they speak very poorly of one another. So I think Jerome Powell's gone out of his way to piss off Ben Bernanke. It's good stuff. Anyway, yeah, it works for Citadel. As I have a buddy who's like, holy crap, I actually met Ben Bernanke. This was like years ago that he sent me like a text message. I just met Ben Bernanke. Took like a picture of him in a corner on a pedestal, patting the head. That's the way I envision it. Oh man, we're starting to lean a little bit to the upside. Okay, to be frank, we're not leaning to the upside. It's Nvidia. It's the only thing moving up. Like I keep looking at this screen thinking, oh, what's going up? I mean, I see Costco, as I was saying a moment ago, I was surprised it wasn't up. Okay. The energy sector is actually coming off, and that's cooling the S&Ps to some degree. Otherwise, they would be up more. The only thing I see really making a run right now is Meta, okay, which is running, and Nvidia, which continues to run. That spread I was talking about earlier in Nvidia is like fully in the money now. Crazy, right? Just crazy. It's not over yet, people. It is not over yet. But I am going to say something here, and this is not good, because all we have to do right now, if we slip just a little bit further to the upside, we'll start to run. Okay, we're not there yet, but if we slip a little further out, we're going to start to run, because everyone would have to buy to hedge, okay, their deltas. So this is the risk that you're going to run right now in this marketplace. All right, let's actually turn to some of the positions we presently have on. Caterpillar right now is still trading to the upside. That's not helping us at all. Caterpillar, okay, can't make this crap up, has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. 8 days of a bid back under it. It is and is up about 7% in those days. Every day it's up some another 1%. Okay. It's so weird to see this out of a product like Caterpillar. Caterpillar was just oscillating back and forth. We almost came out of Caterpillar profitably last week. Literally last week, I had the order. You can see the order is still working over here. I had the order working. I was within a few pennies of getting filled, and boom, right to the upside. Okay. It hit the lower edge of the expected move and took off to the upside. Obviously, we need Caterpillar to pull back. Now, I already did updates, okay, on these, right? So these updates are they're out. The last couple of moments, actually, we just sent out the updates. I actually recorded updates on the in-out spread. I recorded updates on the TheoTHETA portfolios. When I say updates, for those of you that are not familiar with this, okay, once a week I actually go in and update like the in-out spread, Theo portfolios, and I do like a separate like 12 and 15-minute kind of update. Those are being sent to you as we speak. You guys can watch those and throughout the course of this trading session if you would so choose. But I was recovering a little bit of Caterpillar because the move up from this lower edge of the expected move is pretty shocking. Moreover, though, one thing was also kind of surprising. We have 21 days left in the trade. The expected move is all the way up to 17 bucks. So we're still well within the wheelhouse, okay, of where we could be profitable in here. All right, this move is not helping us though. Believe me, it is not helping us at all. Okay, all right, close that one up for a second. The other trade I put on this week actually is in Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, 27 days left. Look, we're right on the dance floor. I also want to reiterate this one. If you're not in the Wells Fargo trade, it's still it's still there. This is basically what I paid for it. Let me go back over here and in the Wells Fargo trade, I'm unchanged. Okay, this is what I paid for it. So anyone that would still want to put this position on, you have the availability to do so at this point in time. Again, we are unchanged in the trade, 27 days left. Okay, the XHB trade is going to go out worthless. There's nothing I can do. Let it go. You don't sell. You don't try to rescue a trade here. Okay, we don't do that. I just wanted to go over to Starbucks for a second. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught this one. Starbucks actually hitting lower edge of the expected move. Here's one that I've been watching because I've traded a lot of Starbucks. Breaks under like 92, and this thing is going to really going to get hammered. So we're very close, I think, to some pivotal levels in a number of key stocks. Man, look at the Nasdaq right now. All right, how unhealthy is it that you have Apple down, Microsoft, I don't even want to call it flat. Google's basically flat in the day. Tesla's down. Okay. It's Nvidia. Okay. It's Nvidia and it's Meta. Everybody's turning everything they have to two stocks. Tell me what else is possibly bringing the S&Ps up? Okay. Is there anything else on your screen that you see bringing the S&Ps higher? Maybe a little bit of energy, but that's been selling off. And energy is being somewhat offset by the fact that the financials are down. Okay. There is nothing else making any strategic moves to the upside that matters today. There's nothing else on the screen. That's the most shocking portion of this is there's literally nothing else on this screen, okay, that's making any strategic gains other than two stocks, okay? Two stocks have literally become the market. You know what? So Andy was bringing up AVGO, which is Broadcom, right? So let's take a little look at see at Broadcom. Okay, Broadcom. So how come I don't mention it too often? Well, first of all, okay, Broadcom in most contexts, the liquidity in here, okay, it's got a little bit, but the bid offer spreads are totally dead, right? What are we looking at in terms of market cap? Okay, it matters, but it kind of matters like, oh, based on its implied volatility, it matters right now, kind of like Tesla matters. You know, I don't want to take it any further than that because market caps are, very, very similar. It matters like Tesla matters, which is not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. At a $600 billion market cap, 2 and 3% moves, they're just not exactly going to get it done. Just make a quick point. Yes, we're up 5%, and this market cap is probably helping to some degree, but minimally so, especially when you put it against something like Tesla, which is the same market cap that's down almost 1%. Nevertheless, the S&Ps, okay, I caution you, they're starting to roll up that hill. That gamma risk can really grip hold, okay? 15 minutes ago, kind of looked like the marketplace felt very heavy. Even back here, 12 minutes ago, the market back here felt like it's pretty heavy. All right. Now the opposite is true. Okay. We're not home just yet. We'll see. This is very fever pitch in Nvidia. This is a trade that we've seen just day in and day out. Number of calls being bought, again, number of calls being bought, phenomenally large. The activity in here is unequivocally huge by huge. We're at 4 times, okay, the norm for just call trading, not call buying, just call trading in general. Okay. When I say it's fever pitch, I'd be a little concerned about this marketplace right now, simply in respect to the fact that there's nothing else driving it. Okay. There are no other real drivers to price action at this point other than what you're seeing inside of Nvidia. So if Nvidia or Meta start to back off, even, and I'll just give you a perfect example. This thing just backed off for 2 minutes. What did it do to the S&Ps? Okay, it totally stalls the S&Ps. It's craziness. It's crazy that 2 stocks can actually run a market, but they're that kind of market cap. And again, a little perspective behind that. You know, I was talking about market cap a second ago. Okay, $2 trillion. People just don't have enough respect for the significance of that against like the S&P 500. Right? It really is that wild of a number. All right. Yeah, let's go look back at AMD. Looking at trade opportunities, but I mean, this thing is, how do you want to set up some trades in here? That's tough. Okay, that's tough. I've been looking at Boeing. So Boeing looks like right now 200 level breaks through. Okay, I'm much more apt to want to trade something that looks like it's going to break a major level than try to jump on board to something that's rallying. All right, predominantly because of skew, but in all seriousness, like think about that, where I am much more apt to want to trade like what as I was showing you something like Starbucks. Okay, showing you something like Starbucks breaking that 92 level would be critical. Have some nice downside to it. Okay, I was showing you stuff like Apple. Okay, here we are, and Apple's going to hit the lower edge of the expected move. This is what we were looking for. There it is. It's on it right now. That was the big level I was talking about on Wednesday. Okay, I was talking about Google. Looks like it's already actually broken through that level. Okay, and the last one, the only one that's still alive in that pack that I talked about on Wednesday is Nvidia. Okay, it's also the single most important thing. Nvidia. Okay, keep in mind, even a week from now, 770. Who knows? Could be a couple of hours from now, 770. But Nvidia feels all kinds of wrong inside of today's trade. We are seeing, in my opinion, way too much options volume. I mean, people, you're 50 minutes into a trading day already seeing 500,000 contracts. That's all kinds of chaos in here. So let's see if this, how crazy this really gets in Nvidia today. Very, very plausible. All right. So this is where, like Timothy was saying, fear of missing out. One thing you got to understand about trading here, okay? Yes, mom and pop are sitting home and, okay, no one in their right mind buys an $800 stock, okay? The only one buying stock is market makers. All that's going on in here is call buying. That's it, okay? And I say that without hesitation or unequivocation. You listen and read a bunch of stuff, it's all BS now. It's just, well, it can totally support this valuation. I have friends that work for Peak 6, friends that work at Citadel, friends that work at CRT, every major trading firm out there, they're all saying the exact same thing. It's like they're in concert. They say, like, you see the crap that we're causing in some of these stocks? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Okay, I do see it. And everybody's open about it now because they're at the point of even like, holy beep, beep, beep. Okay, the market right now is caught, okay, in this spiraling, almost out of control trade to the upside where call buying, all right, is generating what market makers then have to buy stock. But if you continue with this logic that people are really buying shares over here, okay, you're going to get yourself in trouble because that is how, in the end, risk just gets transferred from one individual to another, right? And what you need to understand is the firms, okay, that are perpetuating a move like this to the upside, they're not the ones taking the risk. And that is important. It's really important that when it starts to unwind, and it will unwind. But when it starts to unwind, it's the retail side of the trade that's going to be left kind of holding a bag of risk. But as I said, like, you know, yes, some people probably are buying an $807 stock. Okay. But generally speaking, it's just these trading firms that continue to run it up. And what's going on is a lot of that retail world, okay, wants to jump on their coattails. Okay. Most people don't understand that the trade that's going on in here is just to lock in very, very small gains. Okay. And do it, tens of thousands of times a day. That's why they're trading the option contracts in there. Nevertheless, okay, it's going on in a big way. All right. There's right now 2 stocks that are kind of rule the roost in the market. Nothing else is in play today. Absolutely nothing else. And yeah, you can point your finger at like a Dell or stuff. And okay, Dell has actually sold off since the open. And the reason I wanted to point that out is because Dell does not have the fierce call buying going on. Okay, at the opposite, there's actually big put buyers inside of Dell. Take a quick glance at AMD. Okay, AMD in this case, it's still up today. Okay, but again, a little bit of a wild child, right? Similarly, there's huge size trading in AMD, but it's very equivalent, at least at this point. So the trades that are going on, there's a hint of it maybe in AMD, but again, the market making side of the business and the big proprietary trading firms, they want to go after stocks that can move markets. And the reason they do want to do that is stocks that move markets open up arbitrage opportunities. If you think about this, if you can move Nvidia, you move the Nasdaq. If you can move Nvidia, you can lock in trades against Nasdaq, Nvidia. That's what these dispersion trades and correlation trades are all about. Nvidia, though, to me it's going to be something to watch today. What I don't like in Nvidia today, just plain and simple. Okay, what I don't like in Nvidia today, the contract size for this point in the day, okay, that's kind of ludicrous at this point in the day. You're not even an hour into the trading day. You're already seeing 600,000 contracts trading here. And it's 600,000 contracts of an $800 stock. The amount of notional value through it, I don't give a damn what anybody says. That's crazy numbers. You're trading tens of billions of dollars every few minutes through a product, okay, where everybody's on the exact same side of the trade. This is not healthy. Okay, it is not healthy at all. This one may get some scary trades in it today. So be aware of it, because throughout the course of this week, Nvidia, I'll reiterate, Nvidia this week has done absolutely nothing until right now. Okay, nothing. It was unchanged this morning. It's about halfway home to the upper edge of the expected move. It's up some 2%. Okay, watch this one for faltering a little bit throughout the course of the day, because that call buying could definitely kind of run out a little bit. All right, not a huge amount else I'm going to do on the trading session. Premium selling. And look, we're having another, kind of day where we're meandering right now. As I said to you, I would expect a lot more movement than this throughout the course of today. We haven't gotten nearly as much as I expected. Apple still continues to get hit. You got to wonder if there's like a rotation out of Apple into Nvidia. And I don't mean the stock. I'm actually talking about an options trade. Go look at the options inside of Apple. Okay. The option market in Apple is dead in comparison to Nvidia. Excuse me. There's actually a lot of call selling going on in Apple right now. Mild put buying, nothing going on. All right. Well, we'll see how this plays. Okay. And moreover, I just wanted to show the Dow on the week. Okay. Somebody was bringing this up earlier inside of chat, but kind of was agreeing with the sentiments in here. The Dow on the week actually hits the lower edge of the expected move. It's surprising, right? You haven't seen that in a while. So there is divergence, people, in the force. Why is the Dow down on the week? Because it doesn't include Nvidia. That's it. Doesn't include Nvidia. Okay. Market performance this week hasn't been that great. You're not clearly getting it out of Apple. All right. Even Microsoft hasn't done anything really on the week. Okay. Anything involved in Dow related is just not there. Okay. Kind of an empty shell. The only thing that's really moving this week is again, and moving markets around is a handful of tech stocks, which, as I said, to me, this is for a stock that's done nothing all week. It's making its move right now, and it looks very, very sketchy at this point. So yeah, Meta at 500. Wow, that's a big number. It is a big number for a again, there's the stock that I loathe, right? Is definitely Meta. Why? We need not go into much more detail again. Okay, don't get me started. By the way, here's exactly what I was saying earlier. We start rolling up the hill, we pick up steam. Okay, remember that expected move today is $30. $30 expected move. So I have already, yeah, those bonds are ripping. Bonds are ripping. Okay, dollar, big move here, right? And the market marches on. Don't forget, in the backdrop of all of this, we talk about inflation. Oil's back at $80 a barrel. Something I haven't really brought up on my screen much, but right now you're actually back to what I would say some pretty critical levels. It's the highest it's basically been inside of 4 months of trade. So we're back up to the 80 handle inside of oil, and looks like a fairly strong bid today. With that, I do have to turn it over to Jeff Bierman here momentarily. Okay, and Jeff will pick up where I left off in what is, in my opinion, pretty slop-tastic market with 2 stocks that are basically drivers. And those 2 stocks just, when it comes down to it, it's Nasdaq and you got nothing else. The question is, how come with a 1.3% move, how come it's not being felt a little bit more inside of Nasdaq? Okay, and the truth is, every ounce of the sell side activity, okay, is being doubled by some of the efforts inside of Nvidia and Meta. And that's exactly why it's having absolutely no bearing whatsoever in that Nasdaq. If anything, though, Apple will keep, if Apple stays down today and Microsoft is basically flat and Google's kind of flat to down, I think it'll suppress the S&Ps to some point. And that's it's the only hope I have of the S&Ps not exploding to the upside. Jeff Bierman is coming on here in just a few seconds. And Jeff, the topic of conversation today is theater of the absurd, critiquing jaw-dropping parabolic charts, part 2. Jeff, you're not going to have to look too far in this marketplace to find some parabolic charts. What he's talking about is just parabolic being explosive, just explosive moves to the upside. Is it SMCI Super Micro? This is obviously one of the more parabolic charts we've seen in recent history. Things kind of cooled off, but it's going again. Specifically today, it's going again. S&P's at this point of the day up some 1625. Nasdaq up 100. The Dow massively unchanged. Volatility really not backing off, but it's the bonds that kind of set the tone for the marketplace. Frankly, I am a little surprised. This is a very, very substantial move off of lows. We're trading 118 and 16 ticks. We're now trading 119 and 25 ticks. Okay, people, some of the data that came out, again, bad data came out, rocked the bond market to the upside. The S&Ps are feeling it. Okay, be just a little bit cautious right here in the S&Ps, a little bit cautious. Okay, for what it's worth, if we're going to dip and turn over, it comes right around this this range. Doesn't mean we're going to, but if we're going to dip, it's right inside this range. Stay tuned. Professor Jeff Bierman is coming on right now.